Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, and hello to all our viewers at home in Franklin, Wrentham, Norfolk, abroad, both on cable TV and on Franklin TV's Pride channel on YouTube. We thank you for turning into this special Thanksgiving week event. High school football at Fenway Park. Tonight's matchup, traditional Thanksgiving Day game, King Philip versus Franklin. While a Thanksgiving Day game is an annual tradition between these two schools, happening at either one of the locations, this year they are kicking it up several notches by playing tonight in the second game of a doubleheader event here at Fenway Park. And we couldn't be more thrilled to be bringing you the game to you live. Your announcers for tonight are myself, Jay Horrigan, Pete Royce, and we're thrilled to have back from the University of Maryland their wrestling announcer, Ryan Martin.
Well, thank you very much, Jay. And yes, talking to Coach Brian Lee after his last victory, and what a year the Warriors are having, he's thrilled to be here. He's not looking past this game, Jay, even though his team will be heading to the Super Bowl yet again. What a run they're on, the KP Warriors. He's going to play this game, he told me, after his last victory, like it's the 7th game of the World Series. And good for him. The players want to win. They want to keep their undefeated season going, and they also have a score to settle. Franklin has taken the measure of KP the last two Thanksgiving Day games, and Ryan, that's a big impetus for KP to turn it around tonight.
Yeah, it certainly is, Pete. I think first off, we got to say a big thank you to Chris Flynn and Pete Fasciano, everyone with Franklin TV for getting us here, as well as this collaboration that we were able to do with a couple other channels. But exactly what you say, Pete. Fenway Park setting as a site for King Philip that's looking for some revenge on a Franklin team that's 5-5 this season and really trying to get their footing offensively. This is a team that's kind of dealt with a lot of injuries on that side of the ball, haven't really found their way through, including their last time out, a playoff loss to Andover. So if Franklin wants to build on their last two Thanksgiving wins, very, very close wins, Pete, that Franklin was able to pull out, including just a 1-point win at King Philip a year ago. They're going to have to do it now against an undefeated King Philip team that's really been playing their best football as of late, Jay.
Yeah, Ryan and Pete, KP comes into this game undefeated, getting ready in about 10 or 11 days. They're going to be playing a Super Bowl game against Marshfield, which is a regular occurrence for the King Philip Warriors. Franklin having not their, I guess, traditional season that they've had under Coach Ian Bain, who has been here for the last number of years. Right now we see they're doing a little presentation out on the field where they're introducing players from both King Philip and Franklin that have played in this long-time rivalry. So, Ryan, talk to a little bit about what the team's kind of been going through and dealing with this year.
Yes, Franklin really having a lot of struggles. I think one thing that's really been tough, Jay, so far this season has been their quarterback play. And this is a Franklin team that's had such consistent quarterback play since head coach Ian Bain took over way back in 2016. And it's just been a lot of injuries that have derailed them so far this year. junior Justin Bianchetto was positioned to become the starter this year, and he's done that, but just not as consistently as you want, Jay. A big reason because of that with being injuries. So in his place, sophomore James Brusso has stepped in for multiple games, including playing the whole game against Andover last time out, a playoff loss for Franklin. Expect him to start here today, Jay, and see if they can kind of put together the pieces on offense.
Right now, you're seeing on your TV, if you're watching this, not just listening to it, the coin flip being overseen by our white hat official today, Mike Rayberg. What a thrill for the officials. We'll get into that later. I got a chance, as most people would imagine, to speak with them earlier. Pete, tell us a little bit more about King Philip, how they prepared, how their offense has been going. My understanding is they're passing a couple of more times offensively than they have. They've always been a run-dominant team, and they just eat the clock.
That's a big change for them this year, Jay. They were over 1,000 yards passing. Tommy McClish has been doing a great job. He's a senior. He's their captain, quarterback, punter. He can do a lot. A 2-year starter for them. And so I think the thing about KP this year, Jay, is they're more balanced. Now, in the running department, they'll feature Drew LaPlante, a junior, but he's not the only running back that they'll feature. They'll have 3 others. Coach Lee will be alternating running backs, getting fresh legs in. Maybe not necessarily every play, but every normal sequence, you'll see a different running back in there. On defense, Jay, an outstanding team. They're averaging in their 11 games 6.5 points given up per game. That's outstanding. And so they're looking to let's put it this way. This game, you say, how they prepared? This has only been a 6-day break since their last game. But that game against Barnstable, the starters went in there, Jay and Ryan. They led 35-0 at halftime, and the starters didn't see any more action. He had a chance to rest his team.
Yes, certainly getting that is important.
It absolutely is as they prepare for this game. It's odd that you would normally play in high school football 2 games, 6 days together.
Yeah.
We're ready for kickoff. We're going to welcome back Ryan Martin, and Ryan's going to take us through the first quarter here. Go ahead, Ryan.
Thank you so much, Jay Horgan. As we're here at Fenway Park and kicking this one off, it's King Philip to receive. Then bringing it past the 30 and taking it down right there. The returner is Aiden Astorino. Look for him in the run game, as Pete mentioned. Again, Coach Brian Lee in his 19th year going to look to cycle into a couple more guys in the backfield.
Just if you're keeping a bingo card at home, Franklin won the toss and deferred. Anyone have bingo? Anyone?
Not on me, Jay. But we'll have to see what this Franklin defense can do against, again, an undefeated King Philip offense led by their senior captain. You see him trotting out right there. Number 4, Tommy McLeish has been under center. And Pete, as you mentioned, this Warriors offense has been so famed now for their ground and pound attack. They're willing to throw the ball a little bit more this year.
I think that's a big difference, Ryan. If they come out throwing, it's going to cause the Franklin defenders to wonder what kind of a game are they up against.
First play, it's a handoff to LaPlante. I'll get a couple yards going up the middle.
LaPlante is a long-time multi-sport athlete, not just at King Philip. He has been growing up. His father was heavily involved in their Pop Warner or AYF program. It's good to see him have some success out there.
We've seen, again, that committee approach so far, but LaPlante's kind of done his own thing, including some big moments in their playoff run. He's back in the backfield again. It's an I formation. Alongside him is Jack Berthume at the fullback position. Berthume will leave it off for LaPlante, and with Berthume guiding him, it's another game for LaPlante, but Pete, it looks like it's coming up a third down for the Warriors.
Yeah, it's third down, and we talk about the balance. Well, so far 2 basic plays up the gut for the Warriors, and they haven't unleashed the talented throwing arm of Tommy McLeish. And here on third down, you may see it, third down and about 5 to go.
Yeah, we'll see if they do decide to air it out here with McLeish. Some of his options, he's got David Holland to his left, and a 3 wide receiver split to his right, and Astorino to his right. It will go back to pass. He's looking for Holland. Holland down left field side, and he'll just drop it. Good defense there to right coming from Will Terrell. And the Panthers, Jay, forcing a 3 and out.
Yeah, nice job by the Franklin defense going up against this offense that in years past, Ryan, I know we remember, they just they just would run over to start the game, run over not just Franklin, run over anybody they played. So a nice start, and then we'll get a chance quickly to see what this offense, what they've been able to correct.
Well, one thing, Ryan, as you call this play, Tommy McLeish is their quarterback, and he's their punter. You always have to be careful for the fake.
4th and 5, does he opt for it? No, he'll go with a right-footed kick, and is he a good punter as well. This one will bounce in favor of the Warriors before trickling back. Should be at about the 22-yard line. No chance for Derek Zabriskie or Andrew Frollo to return it for the Panthers, who will now go out for their first offensive possession. And Jay, we talked about it a little bit in the open. We expect James Brusso, the sophomore, to be under center here, but Coach Ian Bain has gone with a couple different lineups, some with Justin Bianchetto, some with Brusso, depending on the health of his quarterbacks.
Well, it has been a tough year for the Panthers overall, Ryan, with their injuries. The kids are trying to fight through, but they're unable to. Some of them they haven't been able to bounce back as often as they would have liked to.
It is Brusso out there. He has Mike Levine to his right, and David will lose the ball. Who comes down with it? This one might be going with the Warriors. On the first play of the game, they'll signal a King Philip ball.
It was Aiden Astorino, and a lot of their players go both ways. And Astorino, fine offensive player, he recovers it. The first play from scrimmage, a very difficult start for the Panthers as Davidi coughed it up at about his own 28-yard line.
You can't make
21.
a drive quicker than that, Pete. A first play fumble from the senior captain, Michael Davidi, another one of those players who's dealt with the injury bug this season for the Panthers.
And we've seen Davidi come back and play probably when he was too injured to play, but he's such a gamer, such a team player. He puts himself out there no matter what the risk is.
And the Panthers have kind of been forced to go with that committee as well. Another I formation. This one will be handed off to LaPlante. LaPlante getting some good yards. He's into space. LaPlante's going to take this one all the way into the end zone. Down the right side goes Andrew LaPlante. Pete, a 31-yard score puts the Warriors on the board.
Talk about taking advantage of a turnover. One play does it. They recover the fumble by Astorini, and then LaPlante takes it, as you said, 31 yards untouched to the right corner of the end zone. The Warriors are up leading 6-0.
Yeah, and Jay, you just saw LaPlante right there beating through that first-line defense of the Panthers. And he was off to the races. No one in the secondary for Franklin to stop him. Puts King Philip up 6.
LaPlante saw that open area and just kicked it up.
Field goal attempt by the Warriors is good. Going up 7 is King Philip.
Ryan, one of the differences that the three of us were talking about prior to this game, the players and the coaches are going to see it a little different as there are 7 officials on the field, which is obviously something that's important. We should always talk about the officials. I feel like we should do official play-by-play. But the white hat is Mike Rayberg, the umpire John Collins. You've got the father and son combination of Rick and Rich Mattson on each sideline. Doug Davenport is the back judge. And then Bill Barra and John Engler also part of this crew.
And Jay, you didn't talk about yourself. Gene Steratore Horgan in our booth.
Gene Steratore, I've got someone on standby, a guy, Bob Evangelista, who is our board's interpreter. He will be ready he's watching the game. If we have any issues,
okay,
he will feel free to send me an email.
Squib kick from Andrew Bowen comes in the hands of Franklin, returning it here and getting some space down the left sideline and taking it for a second for the Panthers was Johnny Duffy, the junior. And Duffy will just toss that one back. Does give Franklin good starting field position, though.
Well, certainly if you make one error like the Panthers did, coughing up on their first offensive play, 2 errors would be brutal. So you got to have a long, sustained drive here, hopefully move it up the field for them, from their point of view, to get back in the game as they're trailing it 7-0 so early on in this contest.
You know, you do want to see the Panthers, because King Philip is so explosive. Pete, you're absolutely right. You want to see them eat some clock here.
Zabriskie will take the handoff down the left side. Get about a gain of 2. And sets up a second down here.
this is considered, this was Franklin High's home game. If it had been a traditional Thanksgiving, we would have been in the high school Thursday morning. So next year we'll go back to King Philip.
Another handoff comes, this one into the middle, and it's Davidi again making up for that fumble by gaining a Franklin first down.
That's the Mike Davidi we've come to know and love. Just a power run up the middle as he just moved the ball, and that should be well enough for the initial Panther first down. I think Davidi was determined there to make a statement after his early fumble.
Yeah,
Well, first of all, I don't know if anybody saw it, but there should be multiple penalties. Someone ran over the umpire, John Collins. That's just not right.
Another handoff to Davidi, and tries to bounce it out to the left side. And can't get it. That one will be a modest gain again for the Panthers. And Pete, something we were talking about before the game, as you can see, substitutions for both teams. They're coming on the same sideline, and both King Philip and Franklin sharing that sideline near the Green Monster.
Coach Lee talked to me about that earlier. After his last game, he said, that's going to be a challenge. They cannot go beyond the 45-yard line. They're both sharing that sideline. That's a substitute challenge. It's also a timeout challenge and so forth.
First pass attempt by Brusso is intercepted. And coming down the sidelines and bring it back into the midfield before he's tackled down. An interception comes from Matthew Maroney. The sophomore picks off the sophomore, and Jay gives the ball back to the Warriors.
You know, just what Pete said just a couple of minutes ago, a second mistake could just be fatal for the Panthers. This King Philip team is so good that you can't get down 2 scores on them. They give up, what'd you say, 5.8
6.5,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a strong team. And one of the things Coach Lee told me is that for the first time in a few years, this is the most balanced team. He's got powerful players, offense and defense. Some of them play both ways. And there you see a pick and a fumble recovery. The defense, which has been outstanding for the Warriors all season, brings them up in position now to get a 2-score lead.
Yeah, the first pass attempt that Brusso fires off on this one, it's intercepted. Play fake to LaPlante. It's McLeish looking deep. Has a man down there, and he'll catch it and bring it in for the touchdown. It's Mason Campbell making this one a 2-score game.
Well, the first play goes 31 yards on run. We mentioned the balance for the Warriors, and there it is in full spades, a 35-yard pass play to Campbell, and he just fell backwards into that near end zone, that far end zone, backing his way in for another 6.
You know, the pass was, as we watched the replay on the Jumbotron, the pass was kind of overthrown. We've got a flag on the play right now. I'm going to guess, it looks like the Panthers had 12 players on the field. That will be, they'll have the option, I believe, of taking that on the kickoff or moving it half the distance to the goal line right now. You see part of the problems.
Yeah, look at the referee.
With the teams only being able to go halfway because they can't communicate with the officials on a penalty.
It was a long shutout from
You're
Rayburg.
telling me.
But as we take a break from this one, was the officials trying to get it sorted out. How about Mason Campbell becoming a big play machine for a King Philip offense that, again, really hasn't aired it out in years past? He had a 63-yard touchdown in last week's semifinal win against Barnstable. He decides to follow it up with a first-quarter 35-yarder from McLeish, who's, again, not afraid to sling it as the Warriors have a 13-0 lead. I'll try to make that a 14-0 at this extra point, which goes right down the middle. And King Philip taking a 14-0 lead. And, Jay, still 8 minutes left to go in this first quarter.
And you've got, as the Panthers, you've got to just wonder if the kids are feeling it's more of the same. You know, as we've talked about, they've had a tough time this year. Even, you know, you go back to some of the games they should have won and should have won fairly easily. They haven't been able to. They've been in dogfights that they probably should have won. They've lost games they should have won. You wonder what's going through the kids. They were all jacked up to start this game. You just wonder what they're thinking.
It's a tough start for them for sure, Jay. And you mentioned it hasn't been easy on the Franklin side. 3 losses in a row coming up in the last 3 games, 2 shutouts. And then they did put up 20 against Natick, but they need some points here. The Warriors rolling here in the first under 4 minutes of play.
Yeah, this kickoff will be picked up again in the middle of the field and taken down, and be a big heap to start this Franklin drive. But Pete, as you just mentioned, these shutouts have been really interesting for Franklin this season, just not finding a way to put points on the board. Franklin has already been shut out 3 times this season in each of the last 2 games as well. And over the last 7 years combined, they've been shut out 3 times. So just, again, a Franklin team that's playing uncharacteristically this year without really having their footing on that side of the ball.
Well, they're inexperienced, and then when they get the injury bug, it just complicates matters. And Coach Lee was aware of that. He says sometimes things like that can just be contagious, and that's kind of what's happened here for Franklin. Their bad luck continued on and off throughout the season with injuries, and of course the bad start here. But the Warriors looking really strong.
How about changing with that bad start? We already have a new quarterback in, Justin Bianchetto, already back into the game, and another fumble comes for the Panthers. Looks like Bianchetto will fall on it. And right when Bianchetto makes that play, it looks like he'll come back off, and James Brusso now preparing to come back in at quarterback.
The exchange just never happened, Ryan. As he tried to get the handoff, I don't know if it was because he was cold coming in. He and Davidi just didn't have their lines of handoff straight, and it just never reached the running back cleanly.
It was a really interesting play, too, for Bianchetto to come in for one play. And it looked like regardless of what happened with that snap, too, he was coming out right after. But anyways, it's Brusso back in. 2 wide receivers to his right, and Davidi there as well. Handed off to Davidi, who's swallowed up behind the line of scrimmage. Good play there coming from the Warriors.
The defensive line is really difficult to handle.
And Pete, we were talking about a little bit before the game, too, making that tackle for a loss right there. They have a really great both trenches, the defensive and offensive line. It's helped by their senior captains, including who just made the tackle for a loss, Luke Danson.
Oh, Luke Danson, outstanding. And that 1-2 combination of Danson and Sean King give the Warriors mighty power on that defensive side.
3rd down and 12. Brusso's going to have to air it out and look for something here. Brusso down the right side looking for Trenanes, is able to get it to him. Luke Trenanes, a senior, making his first catch of the day. First catch by a Panther so far in this one. And it looks like it will be just short. We'll have to see where was the spotting on that one if they're able to get in the ruling, but it looks like it will bring up a 4th down.
Yeah, and I think they're going to go for it. High risk, high gain on this play.
4th and 1 coming on the Panthers' own side of the field. Davidi behind Brusso. They'll hand it off to Davidi. Bounce it to the right side. He's got it. And tackle down there at the very end. Tackle made by Ethan Pescioni. But it's enough for the first down for Davidi, Pete.
Just a great cut by Davidi. He started up the middle, then took it over to the right side, made another cut, and leaped forward for the first down out near just across the 50.
So I believe, Jay, that's also the first down of the game for Franklin.
For Franklin, yeah. It's the first time, they've crossed midfield, the first time they've gotten the first down.
Not surprising going against this King Philip defense. A pass comes from Derek
play.
Zabriskie. Launches it, and Trenanes just can't bring it in. How about the designed pass for the senior Derek Zabriskie? Looks for his classmate Luke Trenanes, and on the double pass, they can't get it to go, Pete.
Trenanes almost made a spectacular one-handed grab as the left-handed Zabriskie and the left-handed leap there by Trenanes got a hand on the ball, but he was just bulldozing his way down and didn't have the feet under him to settle the ball down, Jay.
If he had had those NFL gloves, he would have been able to hold on to that.
First time out of the game called for
I think it's KP
Coach
called
Brian Lee and King Philip. So we'll retreat to the sidelines for a second. How about Zabriskie, too? The accuracy of that pass with the receiver's gloves on and some pressure in his face.
He's kind of done a couple of things tonight, Ryan. He's had a carry on a straight handoff, which is a little bit unusual for a wide receiver. It wasn't really a total end around. He took it up the middle a few plays earlier, and now he throws that pass. It's the first time I've seen him air it out. I didn't even know he was left-handed.
So Franklin already back onto the field, and Jay, still very early, but this 2-score lead for King Philip, a team, again, that is still undefeated so far this year, 11-0, looking to pull off the perfect season with wins here today and at Marshfield in the Super Bowl would be their first perfect season since 2017. If you're Franklin, you got to like some momentum you're building up on this drive.
You would really like to see if you could put some kind of points on the board. Remember, KP's last loss was to the Panthers last year.
Brousseau looks to the right side. It's Trenane's making the catch again. Good tackle, though, comes again from the Warriors, who are there in an instant. Brandon Nicastro makes a tackle.
This good, solid defense by Nick Castro, as he just gave up very few yards there on the play. He defended it well. Nice play by the talented player. He is a sophomore, 5'10".
Brings up another 3rd and long for Franklin. 3rd and 8 upcoming. From the Warriors 45, it's Brousseau by himself. And looks like that's Andrew Frollo in motion. And he'll look for Dobruski. He gets it down for him, but kind of caught up well before the chains is Dobruski.
Well, I think he's got
Oh,
it.
no, they used that
it,
last effort. I was going to say a lot of emotion coming from Dobruski right there. I thought he was short for a second, but it was that last move, maybe the spin after, Pete.
I think it was the spin. He had to take it down to about the 35-yard line. He got right to the line.
It almost looked like he rolled on top of the KP player and was able to pick up a little extra yardage.
Jack Fairweather goes in motion. That's another handoff to Davidi. Davidi using the patience and cuts back towards his right. Dives in, and that's something we've seen Pete Davidi do a good amount today, is have that patience when a gap is kind of occupied when he's supposed to go one way, not afraid to bounce it out to the other side.
Well, when you're as talented as the Warriors are defensively, you're the opposition. You got to find some creative ways to counter that force that KP brings to that powerful line of scrimmage that they have. Give Davidi credit for a nice shift in direction.
Brousseau by himself again, now joined Dobruski on his left hip. He'll toss it out to Dobruski, trying to get some blockers near left side, and our first flag of the day comes, Jay. Not sure what you saw on that one. Could it potentially be a hold against Franklin?
Yeah, well, it looks like it's a penalty against Franklin. Yeah, it is a hold. You see the indication by the referee, Mike Rayberg, which is a little scary because there's him solo up on the big screen. But I don't believe our audio is being heard right now, so his family won't hear that. But I'll be prepared to get that picture.
It's unfortunate for that error there for the holding call because the Panthers had a good drive going, Ryan.
Yeah, pushes them back now a little bit. 3rd down and 12 with the loss of down as well. Again, a 3rd and long for Franklin. They've made a couple so far today. This one will just be a handoff. No, beg it. They'll redo it instead. So it goes 2nd and 12. My apologies. And on the handoff, another short game from Davidi. So now it'll bring up still again, Pete, a 3rd and long.
Well, the Panthers with Coach Bain has not only gone for it on 3rd down, of course, what you have to, but he's gone on 4th down once as well and made it. So here we're definitely in 4-down territory, down by 2 scores. And you're also at the point now where a punt does not make a lot of sense with such a short field ahead of you.
We've seen so far this year Arnav Dulipati have a lot of success as this team's kicker. See how close Franklin needs to be to let him go. Pressure comes from King Philip, and down goes James Brousseau. Making the sack right there on 3rd down. Coming out of nowhere, it's Ethan Pescioni. We've said his name a couple of times, but the first sack of the day comes from a screaming Pescioni on the right side.
Senior leadership by Pescioni for the Warriors. He is a linebacker. He just was intent on going straight. His line was straight, a straight line right to Brousseau. Took him down, and another loss on the play for the Franklin Panthers.
Dulipati back to punt now, and the duo for King Philip back there. It's Hayden Schmitz, who will let this one bounce right in front of him. How about that roll, though, for Franklin? So down all the way at the 11-yard line. Also back there, Thomas Kilroy, unable to do anything for the Warriors. We'll take over now, deep into their own territory. And, Pete, this is the farthest that they've been backed up to start. But so far, the last 2 drives for the Warriors resulted in 2 quick touchdowns.
Yeah, you know, you talked about first downs. I'm not sure that the Warriors have a first down.
Yeah.
Because they've scored on their big plays in their Yeah, exactly. They haven't needed one. A 31-yard run and a 35-yard pass. But this time, you're right, Ryan. This is the furthest they've been starting from their own 11 as they get going here.
The Warriors looking to now register an 89-yard touchdown drive. Can they do it? Already with a 14-point cushion at their backs. McLeish under center. LaPlante again behind him. It'll be a handoff left to LaPlante. Spin moves down the left side. Good tackle made there by a flurry of Panthers.
They give you enough running plays to keep that passing a surprise factor, but as Coach said, they will mix in the pass, and they've done it already with a 35-yard scoring strike. So at some point, you can't let your guard down on those, uncovering your secondary, because McLeish can certainly air it out.
Gain for LaPlante picks up 4. So it's a 2nd and 6. Handoff, they'll go with their fullback, just pushing up the middle. And how about the serious yards gaining now for Jack Berthume? And Jay, we've seen what Berthume can do as a blocker today, but this time Coach Brian Lee hands off to his fullback, who gets enough for a first down.
You know, we've been hearing that young man's name, Ryan, since you were in school in Franklin.
Yeah.
That's how long
Way
it's
long
been.
ago, right?
Yeah. King Philip is clearly showing why they are one of the top teams, not just in their division, but in the entire state.
Again, this is a Warriors team that's been in 6 of the last 7 Division II Super Bowls. And that includes the one that they're going to play just a couple of days from now. Not a couple of days, they'll have 10 days off before playing against Marshfield. LaPlante gets it again into the back half of the secondary before taken down by Brendan Larrabee and Franklin. Still a good game from LaPlante.
Well, when you have a big 14-0 lead, as Coach Lee has for the Warriors, this is what you can do. You can run your offense. You don't have to get fancy, just bread and butter plays, using those powerful running backs to grind out 3, 4, 5 yards at a clip, and keep the chains moving, keep the clock moving as well as we wind down the first period.
It's been this classic King Philip I formation. Now Berthume lined up to the left behind McLeish. Be a toss left out to LaPlante. Berthume makes a big lead block. Maybe trips up his own Andrew LaPlante, though, before LaPlante's tackled down just before the 35-yard line.
Good pursuit on the play by the Panthers. They strung it out, and give credit to LaPlante by keeping the legs moving. He got a little bit, a lot of traffic in his way, and he was finally taken down on a good play there by the Panthers, Jackson Nutter.
And
Quarter is over, gentlemen.
They'll let those final seconds tick off in the first quarter. And a first quarter that's been all King Philip Warriors, the 11-0 KP team, really having their way so far with their Thanksgiving rival Franklin. It's King Philip 14, Franklin 0 so far. And Jay, a game in which it's been the big play for the Warriors, and they've used that to their advantage so far.
Yeah, they absolutely have. You know, they had that. Ideally, it's not the pass play you wanted where they scored the touchdown. It was an underthrown ball, but the receiver was able to get a beat on it and take a step back behind the Franklin defender and score. They just, they're so strong in every aspect of the game.
Jay, they're doing what they've done all season. As we take a look at their record, 11-0, some big wins. Some of the big blowouts. How about 52-0 against Attleboro, and then 42-14 against Natick? And so they've just North Attleboro. So against the Attleboros, they've run up some pretty big scores en route to so far an unblemished mark at 11-0. Their Super Bowl opponent, by the way, will be Marshfield. Now KP, the Warriors are the number 1 seed. Marshfield is the number 3 seed. But get this, in the playoff run. In the 3 games so far of the playoffs, Marshfield has scored over 50 points in each of their first 3 playoff games.
That's unbelievable. It really is amazing that a high school team can do that on a consistent basis. Pete, the one score that stuck out to me was the Attleboro score.
Yeah.
Because you and I were over there for the Franklin game.
Yeah.
And that ended up being, a 2-point game that Franklin kind of won at the end?
Yeah, that was, I think it was finally a 7-point victory, but it was close. 21-14 was the final. But, yeah, those comparable scores are really impressive when you look at it from KP's point of view.
So with the Warriors flipping field position, they'll now go, I guess, what do we want to call it, towards the home plate side versus the right field bullpen here at Fenway Park?
Towards home plate or third base, the third baseline. Kind of an extended break in between the first and second quarter.
That was a college break, wasn't it, Jay?
Yeah, well, you had the King Philip cheerleaders or dance team or combination of both performing. You know, it's a thrill for those kids as well.
And with the second quarter to start, we welcome you back to Franklin, Norfolk, and Rentham Community TV. And for the second quarter play-by-play, send it over to my partner, Pete Royce.
Thanks a lot, Ryan Martin. Andrew LaPlante starts the second quarter as he done most of the first period. Powerful running up the middle, and he carries it out. Ball out to the 35-yard line now. Pick up there on the play. Not that many on that, only one. But we're into the second quarter. And now, KP trying to sustain a drive here, taking advantage of 2 turnovers, and they've capitalized on them. Second down and 9. Tommy McLeish at quarterback. Second man through in the eye, comes through it. I think it's Berthiaume, and he is met at the line. The Franklin defense, let's check that. I think that might have been Kagan Canto Osorio with the carry, and it's a short pickup, maybe a half a yard. That's about it. It'll be third down and 9 for KP. Ball out to the 36.
Pete, one thing I think Franklin needs to do now, having this 14-point deficit that they're facing, just got to get off the field on third down, especially with a 3rd and 9 here. How can you show that pass defense, something that's been struggling so far today, and give the ball back to your offense?
Third down and 9. McLeish. He's going to air it out deep on the right side. Got a man out there. The diving attempt incomplete. The dive made by Mason Campbell. He already has a long touchdown. That one just aired out a little bit too much by Tommy McLeish.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought that it would be McLeish trying to do there, Pete. Mason Campbell, who already caught that 35-yard touchdown in the first quarter. It looks like that's his favorite target here today at Fenway Park, Pete. So he goes to test this Franklin defense on Campbell again. Franklin defense finally able to kind of make that last-second effort, but I do think that ball overthrown a little bit by McLeish as well.
McLeish stands at his own 21-yard line in punt formation. Back deep for the Panthers is Derek Dubrisky, stands at his own 22. McLeish will launch it. High kick. And it's going to bounce at the 30 and fielded by Dubrisky. Takes the hop and would wedge it out to the 29-yard line, where the Panthers will take over 1st and 10 at that point, trailing it 14-0 early on in the second period. So Franklin has had a few moments of good play, but the 2 penalties have really, the 2 turnovers have really hurt, and also a critical holding call stopped the drive as well. But here they go. Be going out towards the outfield now, and James Brusso, the sophomore, still at quarterback to his right. Michael DeViti. And good to see DeViti playing again. He's been hurt off and on with injuries this season. Hand off to the aforementioned DeViti. He gets forward to about a 3-yard gain, crosses over the 30, and a nice tackle on the play by the Warriors. Talon King with the stop. So it'll be second down for the Panthers, and a pickup short on the play. It'll be 9 to go. Brusso taking his time. Fakes the handoff. He's going to air it out. A crossing pattern. Dubrisky's got it across the 45 to the midfield stripe and into Warrior territory. 1st and 10 for Franklin. A nice diagonal pass there. A little look in, and Dubrisky did the rest after the catch.
Yeah, that's what Dubrisky's been doing all day so far, Pete. Franklin, again, hasn't had that much success on offense, but when they have, it feels like it's been Dubrisky fighting and pushing for extra yards. Doing so right there, and I like the play call from Ian Bain. We know he can use that head as a former quarterback, and he goes to the play action there after several runs in a row to DeViti.
Brusso with an empty backfield. Resetting now is Zabriskie. Now he becomes a running back, and he takes the handoff. He's going to sweep it left, but he can't get through. And a nice tackle made. A beautiful tackle by Seidel Sanchez-Doss, the big defensive lineman, 6'3", makes this tackle, 266 pounds.
And Pete, watch his replay again, too. I'm not sure if Zabriskie even went down there on that first play. Look at, gets pulled down. His knee never goes down, so he just keeps going up.
Did they allow him continue that? Yeah.
Yeah, 2nd and 3 here coming.
Yeah, they did.
I wonder if they did.
No. Yeah, they did. They let him get through because it's 2nd and 3. And now on the next play, the Warriors defense all over the running back there, but still trying to move it forward. Was the ball loose? No, it's not loose. The Franklin DeViti felt if he fumbled, he recovered it. And it's going to be, do you have enough for the first down? Let's see. DeViti just powerful spinning. I think he did fumble it, and I think he recovered his own fumble. And it's going to be just shy of the yard to gain. So it'll be 2nd down and about 2 for the Panthers. Trying to get something on the board. King Philip, strong to start, 14-0. DeViti right at the hip of James Brousseau. He resets Zabriskie from left to right. Long count. The snap. DeViti up the middle. Does he have enough for the first down? I think he's got it. Takes it inside the 40.
Yes,
it's a first down for Franklin. If you talk about an important drive, Ryan, this is it. When you're down 14-0 almost midway through the second period, you need some points. And Panthers so far look pretty good on this series.
Yeah, you just got to make the deficit easier on yourself, too. And this is a Warriors team that likes to score them in bunches. Pete, 11-0 they are in the year. Outscoring their opponents by an average of over 26 points per game is what this Warriors team does. So if you can just not let that snowball keep rolling for King Philip, get some points back, could go huge into the overall outcome of this game.
The ball is blocked at the line of scrimmage. Blocked again by Seidel Sanchez-Doss. 2 big plays by Sanchez-Doss. It's so important for those linemen just to raise up those big mitts of theirs. And Doss, at 6'3", he jumped like he was going to dunk a basketball, and he blocked the Brousseau attempt. 2nd down and 10 for the Panthers from the 40-yard line of KP.
Yeah, we talked about the prowess of those offensive and defensive lines. Luke Danton, Sean King getting up there, making the stop.
DeViti picking his way to the line of scrimmage, and that is all. Nothing more, maybe a half a yard pickup by DeViti. It'll be 3rd and about 9.5 for the Panthers. 6:47 to go here in the second period. Franklin with the huddle. Sometimes they do that little sugar huddle, and sometimes they do the full huddle. And here they have to talk about this important play on 3rd down and 10 for Franklin. Ball is still at the 40-yard line. Split out wide now to the left is Kyle Walsh. We haven't heard from him tonight. He had been a favorite target of both Bianchetto and Brousseau in earlier games. Come up with some big catches. And here's Brousseau to throw. The pocket breaks down, and dropping him for a loss is Luke Gunning, a junior. Again, that great size, 6'4". I mean, they just bring tall players after tall players, big men after big men. And this has set up a 4th down and more than 10 for Franklin as they lost about 5 on that play.
Yeah, Pete, I'm glad you mentioned that size. That was the first thing that was going to pop out to me for Gunning, and it kind of popped out on that play as well, using that size to just get past the offensive line of Franklin and get it going here as the Panthers now with a 14-point deficit here to punt it with 5.5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Dulapati to kick it away. Kilroy is back there. And the ball is going to come up very short kick. And finally, it's going to be covered on the play by Franklin's Jackson Nutter. And so after the short kick, the Warriors will take over again. 5:21 left.
Yeah, you want to just to the folks watching at home, listening at home, we apologize for the audio issues we were having. Thanks to our Mr. Everything cameraman, Chris Flynn, we appear to be back audio-wise, so you get to listen to me again.
That's worth the wait.
I'm not sure about that, Pete.
Thank you. First and 10 for KP. They're in control here, 14-0. The ball on their own 27-yard line. Tommy McLeish at quarterback has a touchdown pass to his credit today. He's going to fake the handoff, and he's going to put it up in the left flat out of bounds, thrown out of the sideline, intended for Daniel Silveria, another 6'2 player, tight end senior, 6'2", 205, too strong into the sidelines, incomplete, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Pete, that was kind of over the head of everyone there, Ryan. Didn't you see?
Yeah, it was. It was a rare rollout, something we don't see from head coach Brian Lee or this King Phillip team too often. Daniel Silveria, though, Pete, I think is a wide receiver to keep watching as this game matures. We've seen Mason Campbell a lot. Silveria, the only real returning wide receiver that McLeish had at his disposal last year, brings a lot of good experience, just couldn't get it there with McLeish running at a time on the bootleg play.
It is amazing how King Phillip just keeps reloading and reloading every year.
2nd and 10, handoff up the middle. King, I believe this time, he's going to take it. Talon King for a nice
like he's
pickup.
got a first down.
That was all King. Talon King.
And Pete, you talked about at the top of the broadcast too, but how about the quality of runners in this backfield for King Phillip? Gives Brian Lee so many different things he can do when he thinks, all right, I'm going to give 8 carries in a row to LaPlante, and then if you just toss King one in, it really tries to kind of puts the defense on its heels because you think it might be a pass if King's in. All of a sudden, though, Pete, King Phillip able to play around and go for another run.
He knows he has something special in the way he can alternate those powerful running backs. Berthume is in there now as well, as is LaPlante. McLeish, little look-in pass. That's complete to Campbell. Mason out near the 45, gets across the 45 to the 47. He's going to be shy of the yard to gain by about 2. And it'll be 2nd down and short coming up for the Warriors of KP.
Took 4 guys to bring him down there.
Yeah, Campbell, 6'2". Is everybody 6'2" on KP? No, I think they have a few more than that. 6'3", 6'4".
They got a football roster of basketball players, Pete.
Yeah. It'll be 2nd down and 1 for the Warriors. In control here with time still not a factor yet.
3:50 left in the first half.
You talked about the creativity a little bit, too, that Brian Lee could use with his running backs and stuff. How about the creativity he can use in his passing game, too? We saw Franklin playing so far back because of the deep shot ability of McLeish, so he just finds Campbell on a nice little slant.
From the power eye come the Warriors. The dot of the eye gets the ball, and that is going to be Andrew LaPlante. And LaPlante out near the midfield stripe.
Looks like a first down.
He crossed over that 50. That should be enough for the first down on Franklin's side of the 50.
Ryan, you mentioned the passing by King Phillip. It's something that, to the extent that they're passing, it's new to what they've done. They primarily have always been a running program. They just run and run until they beat you up.
And I'm not going to sound as experienced as either of you two here, but I've done the last 3 King Phillip Franklin games, and what we see from this Warriors team is what we've seen for the last 10-plus years, in which they'll run it, and then right when you think it's a play action, it'll be another I-formation run like this. But the diversity we're seeing as McLeish goes to pass again is pretty impressive.
Play action pass. It's complete to Campbell. Campbell with some room across the 20, and he's pushed out of bounds at the 18-yard line. Pushed out of there on the defensive play by Caden Colella, but not before a big gain for Mason Campbell as it's 1st and 10 deep into Franklin territory for the Warriors.
Pete, I'd like to go back to something Ryan just said. Did you call me old?
I did say
I think you called
older than me.
old.
That's all I said.
Wow. Drive all the way into Boston. I could have just come over to your house.
It was a compliment, too. I said I'm not as experienced as either of you. I'm not trying to act like I know more than my distinguished veterans here.
It's a matter of moments before we have a weight joke, too.
1st down and 10 at the 18-yard line for KP. Tommy McLeish checks the defense, rolls right. He's going to come back. This is a pass up for grabs. That ball hung in the air. It's incomplete, intended for Campbell. A couple of Panthers was there, and also there, I believe, was Connor Clausen. And the ball seemed to hang, didn't it, Ryan, up in the air?
It really did, Pete. That was almost the same kind of route we just saw Campbell get hit with. It was the deep post route right there. On the play to Campbell, he was able to get two of them. On that one, though, it was just one coming from the right side to the left side. You're right. It hung there for a while. Good last effort there from Clausen to make the play. And, Pete, I think this is our first red zone drive either, by the way, for either team.
Yeah, 2nd down and 10. Yeah, their scores have come from beyond the 30. Hand off up the right side. LaPlante takes it inside the 10-yard line, and he's taken down at the 9. Maybe another yard to go for the yard to gain. Should be 2nd down and about 1. A hurry-up offense here. 2nd and 1. Again from that power eye. Second man through, and whistle stops.
We've got a flag.
Yeah, flag will.
Looks like it's going to go against the Panthers.
It is, and that should be enough for a first down. Looks like the side judge out there.
Yeah, that was one of the Matson twins. It actually was the father, Rick Matson, who threw that flag.
So that'll set up first down and goal for KP from the Franklin 4.5-yard line. 1:50 the clock is moving here in the second period from Fenway Park in Boston. Franklin digging in. KP trying to make it a 3-score game.
1:30 left.
Tommy McLeish. Second man through to the line and comes
untouched.
in. Untouched goes Andrew LaPlante. And it's 20-0.
Wow. Talking about a drive, huh?
Yeah, very nice. Andrew LaPlante makes it 20-0, his first score.
Yeah, Pete, that's actually, I believe, LaPlante's second score, right? He made this a 7-0 game earlier.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden,
he had the
again,
31-yard run.
Yeah,
You're right. He had the 31-yard run. Here's Sean Woods for the extra point, and his kick is up, and it hits the net. There's a timeout on the field, 1:29 to go in the second quarter. KP rolling 21-0 over Franklin.
Yeah, King Philip is just showing us why they're again, we'll go back to not just the class of the league, they may be the class of the state. We do want to thank our rules interpreter, Bob Evangelista. He was one of the 2,700 people that texted me that we had no audio a little while ago. But thank you for that, Mr. Evangelista, also known as the Sausage Man, as he sells Johnsonville bratwurst and sausages, always handing out coupons to any of his friends. Although I haven't gotten any this season, so.
Making us hungry up here in the press box. By the way, we're in the visiting radio booth at Fenway Park. Pretty prestigious location for us here at Fenway. So it's 21-0, and we're ready to start here the kickoff after the third score of the game, 2 by LaPlante and 1 by Campbell, and Franklin will have it deep on the return. Some room up the middle is Julian Rampino, and Rampino still moving out near the 40-yard line. They can't take him down. Rampino, now the ball squirts loose.
Oh, my.
The ball came loose.
That should have been a flag.
And LaPlante.
No,
it's not. No, it's going to be Andrew Bowen.
Hold on. We'll see if there's a flag. There should have been a flag on him holding the ball up in the air, kind of celebrating it, the 10.
Yeah. So it is Andrew Bowen. Will they get together and discuss it?
No,
Nope.
There was no flag thrown.
Andrew Bowen, I guess you'd call it a fumble recovery. The two things on that play, the run kept ensuing, and then Bowen somehow came out of the pack, out of the scrum with the ball. Very happy player, 5'11", 218. Not sure he has too many scoring opportunities. It's 27-0. Kick by Sean Woods is up and good.
How about 2 King Philip touchdowns in a 15-second span there, Pete, to double this lead now. It was 14-0 less than 30 seconds ago, Jay, and all of a sudden 28-0 in favor of the Warriors. who are now about to, or 70 seconds away from having a comfortable first half lead.
It's very similar to what KP did in their last game against Barnstable. They led 35-0 at halftime. Here we are, one score away. I don't think they'll get another score in this half, but very comparable, 28-0, 3 touchdowns on the basis of turnovers against Franklin. You can't do that, Ryan, to a team of the caliber of KP, because look what they'll do to you.
No, we've said it already today, how dominant this King Philip team has been so far this season, to the best opponents in this state so far. We've seen them have their way in the Division II tournament. You look at some of the games that they've played so far. They beat Barnstable, the number 5 team in Division II. They beat them by 21 points. 42-21, they were able to get past them. Got a 28-point victory against Winchester in the quarterfinal round, and then beat Demon 41-0 in the first round of that tournament. So this is a King Philip team that maybe benefits Pete from playing in the Hockomock League. Again, a really competitive league, but they're having their way against their rival right now.
That's a loose ball. That ball hit an up player, one of the up men at about the 45, and that's a live ball. But Franklin was right on it. That could have gone as an onside kick, but the Panthers will take over.
Ryan, I'd ask you, you know a lot of these Franklin players because you went to school with them.
Yep.
What does Coach Bain say to them at halftime? Is it, hey, we can get back into this game, or is it, hey, seniors, it's your last game, enjoy this experience, you're all the kids are getting a chance to play at Fenway Park, a dream come true?
Yeah.
Which way do you go with that, do you think?
Well, I've been in a couple of those halftime conversations, and he gets upset. He gets fiery sometimes. The whole thing, though, is I do think you got to understand the situation you're in, definitely. And this is a different Franklin team before. He's definitely someone who can get the best out of his players by knowing what he expects of them this year. So I think when you're looking at the record for Franklin this year, 5-5 is not where this Panthers team expected they'd be. But you also have to remember that these are young athletes who want to be here and in the moment at the most prestigious ballpark in all of Major League Baseball, where their beloved Boston Red Sox play. So I think what you'll hear from Coach Bain coming out, I think you'll see a more synchronized team, Pete, but a team that's just really excited to be here and put their best foot forward over the last 24 minutes.
I don't think he'll tell them, let's enjoy Fenway Park. I think he'll say, let's play this game hard to the last whistle.
Right.
Ball is thrown out. First play was a run by DeViti, and here Brousseau throws it out of bounds. It stops the clock, 25 seconds to go.
Hey, I just want to go back and correct myself. I was talking about the King Philip player who scored on that fumble recovery. I did talk to our rules expert, Bob Evangelista. He felt it was no flag if the young man had turned around and kind of said something to a Franklin player, but that was... You know, it was just a kid being emotional, scoring a touchdown at Fenway Park. So,
3rd down and 8. That was Bowen with the score. 3rd down and 8. DeViti. He's so shifty,
nice move.
And he got some open field across midfield inside the 45 to the 42-yard line. That's enough for a first down. The clock will stop as they reset the chains. And DeViti, I think, giving you a glimpse of what the Panthers are going to do in the second half. They're going to continue to grind it out. Timeout called by Coach Bain with 19 seconds to go. I want to talk about one thing, which is, I think this is pretty unique, guys. Have you ever heard of a high school team playing back-to-back games in major sports venues, as KP is going to do? Fenway Park today, the next game, the home of the New England Patriots. How many times does a high school get to play in one major league venue? How about two? How about 2 back-to-back games?
Back-to-back.
Unbelievable experience for them.
It is incredible, and one thing I did was I was actually here at the Thanksgiving games last year, and I saw St. Mary's High School actually do the same thing. They won their Super Bowl at Gillette the next time, so you see teams like St. Mary's who have a lot of success with their coaching program there, but for King Philip, a Hockomock League team to do it, I don't think I've seen anyone in the Hawk do this before, and what an incredible feat and a true honor for a really nice senior class for King Philip, something that they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
You know, I would also say that St. Mary's also played in a state final basketball tournament last year, so they played up at University of Lowell, or UMass Lowell now. It's
not a bad venue as well.
No,
yeah.
no.
19 seconds to go. Brousseau, little look-in pass. It's complete to DeViti. He spins away, gets it inside the 40, and he stopped there. Nice little pickup for Davidi, another timeout called by Coach Bain. He's going to use his timeouts. He's going to play this game like it's 0-0.
Well, I think that answers my question. Clearly, even though there was only 30 seconds left, he's used 2 timeouts. Franklin getting a little bit of a drive going here.
Yep.
You know, you'd love to see him put points on the board, but something positive that doesn't result in a turnover.
Yeah, how about getting a couple short passes? Again, you have a sophomore quarterback who is not your opening day starter either. So while playing at Fenway Park with the lights bright against an undefeated and possible Super Bowl champion team coming with King Philip if they can take down Marshfield next week, how about just getting some confidence with some short throws and getting something positive talked about at the halftime break?
Yeah, and I think the glamour of playing at Fenway Park at this stage of the first half is worn off. Now you're just grinding it out. You're playing, it doesn't matter where you're playing. You could be playing at a local park. You're just into the game, and both teams are probably oblivious to where they are. They just want to play strong the rest of the way. And certainly the Panthers have a big uphill climb to make against this powerful KP team. It's going to be 2nd down and 5 for the Panthers from the 37-yard line of KP. Brousseau with Davidi next to him, and Brousseau is going to go up the middle. Ball is tipped away and intended for Dobrisky, but a nice tip there by Thomas Kilroy. And again, shall I say it? 6'2", Thomas Kilroy.
Yeah, you can see there, Brousseau just trying to fire it up there. That was double coverage right there. But Kilroy, as you mentioned, barely even had to jump for that one. Maybe if you got another hand to it, it would have been the second interception thrown by Brousseau today.
3rd down and 5 at 6 seconds to go. A few seconds went off the clock there. Ball still at the 37-yard line. And KP has 5 backs down inside their own 10-yard line. They are defending that goal line here on this maybe last play of the quarter in the first half. We'll see how it ensues. If it's a quick pass, you might be able to get 2, but Brousseau may be going for it all here with 6 seconds to go. Ball at the 37-yard line. Brousseau is going to look in quickly for Dobrisky. Dobrisky, he's going to pass it off to Walsh, and Walsh is going to be tackled down at the 24-yard line. A nice-looking play, but unfortunately time will run out on the Panthers as they had a little razzle-dazzle. They went for the short pass, and then Walsh took it, but he was wrestled out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. And with that fancy play, the first half will come to a close. KP 28, Franklin no score.
Guys, I want to just say we've had kind of a lot of fun so far in this game. We've still going to have to go. So we're going to take a quick halftime break. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. Halftime here is actually 15 minutes they put on the clock. So between 10 and 12 minutes, we'll be back here for the second half from Fenway Park. Stay tuned. Welcome back, folks, to Franklin TV's presentation of Thanksgiving Day football, the traditional King Philip versus Franklin High Thanksgiving Day game being played this year at Fenway Park here in Boston. We're lucky enough to be here. I'm Jay Horrigan, along with Ryan Martin and Pete Royce. Ryan, first of all, let's talk a little bit about Franklin. What do you think they need to do? What has worked for them? What hasn't worked for them? And what do you think the second half's going to be?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on it towards the very end of that second quarter there, Jay. But they need to act like it's a 0-0 game. This is, again, a offense for Franklin that is moving towards their 3rd straight game of being shut out. They've been very injured on both sides of the ball, but the offense really hasn't gotten the luck of the injury bug so far this season, and they're playing a sophomore quarterback right now who doesn't have many starting experience. So again, this game could be played at Franklin, at KP, or on Mars, right? So we're here at Fenway Park here, and maybe Franklin's starting to see some of that excitement fade away with the 28-point deficit they're facing right now. But I'd love to see the Panthers come out in the second half, Jay, and just play like it's a 0-0 game, simplify the offense a little bit, and just emphasize picking up yards.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point, that it would be great to just see them, as we see the Panthers coming back out onto the field, see them have some positive drives, some positive possessions to start building on. maybe it builds for this game, maybe it builds for the future.
The other thing, Jay, is I think I have Coach Bain's halftime speech. Cut down the turnovers. Wow, were they crucial. Two fumbles lost. Both result, one directly a score, one led to a score shortly thereafter. First play of the game from Franklin, offense, fumble. Couple of plays later, 31-yard run by LaPlante. And it just blossomed from there. And then an interception on the next possession, and then a fumble when it looked like the Panthers had brought it out to midfield and beyond, but the ball came loose and somehow Bowen came out with it. So if you cut down on the turnovers, maybe this is like a 7-0 game, and that's where the Panthers wanted to be, within striking range. Now it's going to be every possession you're going to have to score on. I'm not sure if you're going to get the ball more than 4 or 5 times here in this second half. So you're going to have to take so much precious care of that ball and not turn it over like they did 3 times. But give the credit to the Warriors as well. Some of those were forced by powerful play by the Warriors defense. For example, that last touchdown by Bowen, they just took the ball away from the return man for Franklin. And so that's some of the themes I think that Coach Bain has highlighted here at halftime.
And, you know, Coach Bain had to, Pete, really start digging into that early as King Philip came right out and scored right away. They got punched in the jaw. King Philip came right back. Franklin turned the ball over. It was just the first 5 minutes of this game, I would have to think, couldn't have gone more opposite of what Coach Ian Bain and the Franklin Panthers would have liked to have seen.
No, and so you wonder about your game plan for is it out the window? Certainly at this point, I think it may be, because you have to, be more aggressive now, take some more chances. You're not in a 0-0 game. Mentally, you'd like to be there, but reality is you're down by 28 scores and one half of football remaining. And the KP juggernaut just keeps rolling down the hill. Just unbelievable what the Warriors have been able to do this year. And, you look at the last game against Barnstable. Yeah, they gave up 21 points, but those were against the subs the second half. I wonder when Coach Lee might be tempted to go to his subs, because he does have a little game coming down in about 9 days at Gillette Stadium. But I don't think you go to the subs yet, because it's still 28-0. It's not 35. It's not 42-0. It's 28-0, and I'm sure he's going to. I would believe he's going to have his starters in here to start the second half.
Yeah, and Pete, you and I had talked about that with Ryan before the game. Wondering just that. Mm-hmm. Will he? He told you he's going to play it like this is the national championship.
Yeah.
This is the last game of the season. That's the way both these teams played. You do wonder, the other thing, though, that he's got in his advantage is they're playing 2 days earlier. So instead of having the normal Thanksgiving to that following week,
right,
he's got an extra 2 days for kids to rest. I wonder if that plays into his thought process at all.
It'll be, I think 9 days will be the time now that he can rest his team up for the Super Bowl game against Marshfield. So that's down the pike. 12 minutes here in the third quarter. And again, you take away the 3 turnovers, and who knows what the score would be. Remember, KP punted in their first possession, and then the first ensuing play by the Panthers was the fumble, and then it was just Katie bar the door. It was, before you knew it, 4 minutes gone, 14-0. So we'll start the second half here. Franklin will get the ball, and they'll be defending the goal out by the outfield, and KP will be defending the goal by the infield.
And just a reminder, people, our score right now is 28-0 as we start the second half. So Franklin, Pete, has a long road to fight back on.
And here to take us through the third quarter, the young, aspiring voice of the Maryland Terrapins, here is Ryan Martin.
Thank you so much, Pete Royce. We'll welcome you back to Fenway Park, in which it's been all King Philip Warriors so far, as both Jay Horrigan and Pete Royce touched on some of the keys that maybe Franklin needs to do to keep finding a way to get back into this one, and what King Philip needs to do to keep their foot on the gas with a 28-point lead at the moment. So, off that kick, after scoring a touchdown in the first half, Andrew Bowen kicks it off. And Jay, we talked about it to start this kind of halftime intro segment, but there's some things that Franklin can do if they can just let that deficit go into their rearview mirror for a second.
Yeah, just play it like you had said, Ryan. Play it 0-0, starting a new game right now, and see what positives they can get out of this.
In motion comes Davidi back into the backfield to join the sophomore James Brusso, quarterbacking this Franklin team. It'll be a handoff to Davidi. He had a couple good runs in the first half. This one won't be too special. Gain of 2 or 3.
It's good to see Davidi feeling physically better than he has, I think, in a while. Franklin did have a little longer layoff. KP played last, I think it was Thursday.
Yeah.
Franklin hadn't played since the Friday before that.
Right.
Because they were eliminated from the playoffs.
They did have a scrimmage against Natick that came a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
They did end up losing that one unofficially. How about Davidi swallowed up again, making the tackle right there. It's the big defensive line. That one's Sean King, the senior captain for King Philip. And Pete, we've talked about it all evening so far, but the offensive and defensive lines for the Warriors, they've been difference makers so far this season.
And King, one of the players, Ryan, who's a two-way player, and he and Hansen, they can go both ways, and they've bolstered that defense here. They've only given up 4 yards here in the second half. Franklin needs some chunk plays to get it back in this game.
I don't know if you saw it, but Davidi limped off the field, had to be helped off his ankle again.
Now into the backfield, Andrew Frollo. And Brusso will look to his left and complete it. It looks like it is Kyle Walsh running a slant on the near side.
Going to be short, looks like.
On a 3rd and 6. Yeah, I don't think he got all 6 of them.
No.
So decision time now, Jay, for head coach Ian Bain. And no surprise, it looks like he's going to go for it.
Why not? You've got nothing to lose. This, as you said, this is their last game. This is their Super Bowl.
4th and 2 upcoming officially. The Warriors looks like they'll stack their defensive line and put some backers into the box. Officially, it's Frollo to the right hip of Brusso. In motion comes Owen Scarborough. It'll be a handoff to Frollo. He'll try and duck his way in for the 2 yards, and it doesn't look promising for him.
That defensive line just collapsed on him.
And pushed back as well. Good stop. Yeah. We saw Sean King there, maybe Luke Danson more. And Pete, we just can't stop talking about this defensive line of the Warriors.
They're terrific. We said that they're big, they're powerful, they're strong. They're good two-way players. They're smart, and that time they turned that ball, they turned that runner back, maybe a pickup of a half a yard. That's about it. He needed about 2 to go. He didn't get it, and so the ball will go over on downs. A good start here for KP. And I would think one more score would really open things up here and get time to get some subs in.
You've got to really recognize the job that King Philip offensive coordinator Anthony Vazakis is doing. A little bit of as we've talked about, a change the way of kind of the way King Philip played offense in the past, where it was so run heavy in the past. He's brought a little bit of the passing game. Coach V, obviously a former coach at Franklin High School and the head coach over at Milford for a number of years, now on the King Philip staff.
We mentioned trying to bring in some new players offensively for the Warriors, and they do so right here on this first play, making the run coming into the running back position. It's Keegan Canto Ozario, the sophomore, and in on the stop was Cody Howard for Franklin.
Yeah, it was a nice play by Howard. He actually helped the running back up after he made that tackle.
You got to appreciate the sportsmanship between these two sides.
Yeah, it's nice to see.
More upcoming on the sportsmanship between these two teams in just a moment. But for now, it's a 2nd and 11. The jet sweep comes, and they'll go from across the face to the right, sweeping down. It's David Constantine.
One thing we were talking about, Pete, I mentioned about the longer layoff between now and the Super Bowl. It actually is the same from what they had last year.
Okay.
Because they're playing on the 30th.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, they've broken up the amount of games. They're not going to be all day Saturday at Gillette, so there are a couple of games each night.
And as this one drives down, we'll see another I formation coming from the Warriors, this time into the backfield. It's Talon King. Mentioned his name a couple of times, and he's been a hard runner for the Warriors. And gets this one on 3rd and 3. I think that was enough to get it.
Yeah, very close. Just to the line to gain. No signal yet from Rayberg, the white hat. He's taking a look at the sideline, and he signals 1st and 10 for KP. Not a lot of first downs, but they haven't needed them. They had that one long drive, but otherwise they've just... It seems like the type of team, Jay, that can score from any point of the football field.
Looks like they're making a couple of changes there.
Yeah.
And while we have a second as they make some of these changes, guys, we were talking a little bit earlier, just mentioned the sportsmanship between these two teams. How about the friendly superintendent bet between these two high schools that we've seen? They just posted on social media today for Lucas Jagier, the Franklin superintendent, and Rich Drolet, the King Philip superintendent. Guys, each man makes a wager, and they say, all right, whoever wins will send, the losing superintendent will send money to a charity in the community of the winning team. Just something you love to see here as the run coming down the left side and scampering all the way.
Oh, nice
Will he
move.
make a good tackle at the end by Brendan Larrabee? We'll touch on that in 1 second with the superintendents, but how about on that run comes Hayden Schmitz?
Oh, what a nice run. He just danced his way along horizontal before he took it north and south, and he took it all the way down inside the 15-yard line. Good effort.
He just was like he was on a tightrope there.
Yeah.
After he turned that corner.
Gain of 27 on that play, but
Looks like is that 1st and goal? No, it's outside the 10.
just outside. But so it might be Rich Drolet winning this bet.
Yeah,
for King
that's
Philip, the
nice. Yeah,
superintendent,
it's friendly, right? It's so good to see, and that means they're both into the game, but they're both showing their role modelship, so to speak, and having good sports and helping those charities out at the respective schools.
McLeish looks to his right, fires into the end zone. It's caught again. Another touchdown for the Warriors. Bringing it in is Daniel Silveria. The 10-yard score makes it King Philip 34, Franklin 0.
Oh, they made it look pretty easy. Silveria, again, 6'2". We've said that, just leaping up, and he had his man beat. He had a good angle on Connor Clausen, who's 5'10", so he gave up 4 inches to Clausen, or Clausen gave up to Silverio, and there's your 34 points, and that's the score that might just seal it for the Panthers, not in terms of the doubt of the game, but in terms of sealing when it's time to bring in some subs.
Extra point for Sean Woods. He now goes 5 for 5 in that department. The Warriors, 35-0. They lead their rival, the Franklin Panthers. Franklin, winners of the last 2 Thanksgiving matchups, but now with this rivalry at the neutral site under the confines of Fenway Park, it's been all Warriors, now up 7 touchdowns.
7:46 left in this third quarter as we're coming to you live from Fenway Park. Jay Horrigan, Ryan Martin, and Pete Royce. Guys, did you ever think when we first started, Ryan, when we first met you, and Pete, when I first ran into you at a basketball game in Bellingham, did you ever think the 3 of us would be sitting in a broadcast booth here at Fenway Park?
No, not really. And, you know, they've had all kinds of events here at Fenway Park, right? Concerts are so important, but it's really nice to see them bow to high school kids and give them a chance, along with us broadcasters, give them a chance to play on these hallowed grounds.
Yeah, I wish we saw maybe the last matchups that we saw the last 2 years, though, between the King Philip and Franklin teams.
That would have been something, yeah.
We certainly haven't seen a blowout this one-sided between these two teams in quite some time. Again, we mentioned how last 2 victories, each in favor of Franklin, that was just by 1 or 2 points for each game, as Trenanes brings this one down and it goes out of bounds on the left sideline. So, really, this is a Warriors team that's playing to their absolute highest potential right now. Pete, again, 35-0. They're looking right now to beat Franklin. This would be Franklin's 4th shutout of the season. And for the Warriors, it would be the 4th time they've shut out an opponent this season. It's been a dominant, undefeated King Philip team that's brought it to Franklin so far today.
Well, Coach Brian Lee said that he is playing the game to win and making it like be a championship game. And give them credit. They haven't looked past this game. Obviously, they haven't. 35-0. They could have. It was tempting to look and, you know, maybe rest a player or 2, get ready for that Super Bowl. No, they played hard, and it's shown with a 35-0 lead.
Back in is James Brusso. He'll start this drive at his own 26-yard line. It'll be a pass in the direction and caught by Derek Zabriskie over the middle. And towards the left hash he goes before being taken down.
Should be enough for a first down.
Yeah, again, Zabriskie fighting for those extra yards that end up making the big difference. And it pays off for the Panthers.
Jay, at this point, does the clock run or not yet?
No, it does not. The difference, if it gets to 42 points in the third quarter, it's running time. If it's over 30 at the start or any time in the fourth quarter, it runs.
Pass completed right there. Again, it's Kyle Walsh, the intended target and recipient. Tackle made immediately, though, by the Warriors again. It'll set up a second down.
Yeah, Brousseau, a sophomore. You wonder, looking ahead, will he be the quarterback of the future? It should be a position that would be up for grabs because Bianchetto is only a junior as well. So he'll be back for his senior year. And, of course, Brousseau will be a junior, getting some good reps here. And what a nice stage he's performing on. So far, he's looked pretty good in this little mini drive.
Absolutely. 2nd and 7. Follow to the left, and in motion comes Zabriskie. He'll move back out to the right and complete the pass to Zabriskie. Late hit there on Brousseau, and it looks like we have a flag thrown.
Now, this could be roughing the passer. No, I'm not sure what it is. Chop block?
I didn't see the signal.
Roughing the passer.
Yeah.
Roughing the passer, so that's a big one. Panthers will be the beneficiary. This will take it to the KP side of the field, way down actually, inside the 40. And the Panthers trying to get on the board here, trailing it big, more than midway through the third period.
Setting up now for the first down after the penalty. Franklin in rare territory, I should say, onto the King Phillips side of the field.
5:30 left in the third quarter.
Again, King Philip with a 35-0 lead. And facing pressure and taken down there goes Brousseau. Another sack for King Philip. This time it's William Bobluski gets to the quarterback.
Nice play by Bobluski. Finally, somebody under 6'2". He's flat 6 feet, but he did the job on that play. He looked like he was just spying on him, just had him in his sights the whole time and brought him down for a loss on the play.
This hasn't necessarily, Pete, been a bad offensive line performance for Franklin today, but just the outside linebackers coming off the edges so fast and untouched, as we saw Bobluski do on that play. Brings up a 2nd and 15. Play action pass, and it gets into the hands of Zabriskie again, who's been so tough over the middle, but this time he'll be pushed back after the catch.
What a nice catch by Zabriskie. The ball was to his back shoulder. He had to flip around and go lean back for it, and he spun around and made a nice, almost one-handed catch, and he really showed his determination to complete that play, made the catch, and gets a nice little pickup.
So after the catch, just brings up a 3rd and manageable now. 10 yards for Zabriskie there. And a 3rd and 5 for Franklin. Davidi back into the game.
That's good to see because he's been hobbled.
Yeah, he has. He's had a tough year, that poor guy.
They'll play action it. And looking to the right and completing it to Zabriskie. No! Instead, coming up for the interception and beating him to it. We've mentioned his name a couple of times today, but it's Hayden Schmitz, the junior. Another interception for the Warriors.
Boy, he read that and cut right in front of the Franklin receiver. As they show a replay of that, he just timed that perfectly.
It was beautiful play there by Gates. Made the play, and the only one to stop him from ripping off a big one was Johnny. I'm sorry, that was, let's check it on that. That was Hayden Schmitz. The one who stopped him on the play was Scarborough, who came back to make the play. The tight end comes back and becomes a defender and takes Schmitz down.
So now setting things up, we have a new quarterback into the game. That will be it for Tommy McLeish in this one. He'll set his focus to Marshfield next week as another handoff comes to Keegan Canto Osario, your new quarterback in for King Philip. It's Zachary Gebhard, the sophomore, 6'3" again, so bringing that height, Pete.
Yeah, and that's good height for a quarterback. Only a sophomore, Gebhardt. And again, I imagine he's the one who played a lot against the Barnstable team in the last playoff game, which got the 11th win on the season. Big blowout there. Barnstable did score 21 points, but most of those came in against the subs in the second half.
But what great experience for the sophomore, playing in a playoff game, playing in the Thanksgiving Day game for going into next season.
You gotta like the move, too, by head coach Brian Lee to get as many guys in at Fenway Park as he can. We'll see what other kind of substitutions he brings as well. There's a new fullback in as well for the Warriors, as that backer will try to set the way again for Kento Osario. Kyle Danson, the sophomore, in at fullback. So again, the Warriors up 35-0 as we're almost under 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Ryan Martin here with you alongside Jay Horrigan and Pete Royce, bringing you all of the action in the 63rd Thanksgiving installment between the Franklin Panthers and the King Philip Warriors, this time happening at Fenway Park. Replacing Danson now in at fullback, it's Jackson Fornash. Will he set the way here for Canto Osario? Not before we have a flag on the play, and it might be a jump from the Franklin defensive line.
Yeah, nice hard count by that backup quarterback, Gebhardt. Zachary did the job, drew the Panthers offside, and that's going to give it third and one now for KP out across the 45-yard line.
Yeah, so not helping themselves with the 35-point deficit. But Canto Osario, the backer in the I formation again. But this one will be handed off to Fornash instead. And he'll duck down.
First down.
Should be enough for a first, yep. Again, that creativity comes in all forms for 19th year head coach Brian Lee in this King Philip offense. Pete not afraid to mix in some new running backs, or just hand it off to the fullback and let him put his shoulder pads down and get some yards.
That I formation gives you a couple options. The fullback, first man closest to the quarterback, can take it, can be a blocker for his tailback. So they have the full scope of plays available from that power I that Brian Lee runs so effectively.
Final minute of the third quarter. Again, it's a handoff to Canto Osario, but he's met there by the second line of Franklin defenders. Captain Jackson Nutter with the tackle for Franklin. For the Panthers, they have 19 seniors playing in their final high school game tonight.
KP should have to run one more play here. When that one ended, there was 43 seconds left. But we'll see.
I'm looking at it.
They may let them just run it down.
I've not seen a play clock.
No, but you can notice from the back judge, he keeps the play clock, and he just... Yeah, they got the play off.
Hand off to Canto Osario, tackled down by Caden Colella. Brendan Larrabee as well on the stop, and that will bring us to the end of 3, where it's King Philip up big. The Warriors have a 35-0 lead over their Thanksgiving rival, the Franklin Panthers, as we enter the final 12 minutes of play here from Fenway Park.
And just a reminder, the final 12 minutes will be 12 minutes unless there's timeouts. We are now with the 35-point lead by King Philip. By rule, the clock runs in the fourth quarter if it's a 30-point lead or more. So we are little over 12 minutes away from the end of this experience. We do want to thank both head coaches, Brian Lee of King Philip and Ian Bain of the Franklin Panthers. And we also want to thank the principal at Franklin, Josh Hanna, and especially thank the AD at Franklin, Kara Ellis, who was extremely helpful, along with AD Gary Brown of King Philip in helping us pull this off. The principal at King Philip is Nicole Bottomley. We won't go through all the coaches right now because there are a lot. But we do want to point out one of the Franklin coaches, Mike Bertoni, brother of award-winning high school official Mark Bertoni. And then I have to mention Derek Tatral. My son is out listening to this game. He played with Derek in Pop Warner. So congratulations to those guys.
And yeah, as you mentioned, some big names coming, and a big name will take us into the final fourth quarter of play. For the play-by-play, I send it over to my partner, Pete Royce.
All right, Ryan, from a future big name, Ryan Martin. Handoff Gebhardt at quarterback. He's going to hand it off, run inside the 40, and as Jay said, the clock will run now. 11:49 left in this game, and it's going to be third down. Let's see here, and 1, I believe, for KP. No, I'm sorry. A pickup of 1 will be third down and 9 for the Warriors. Ball just inside the 40 at the 38-yard line. 35-0. Was 28-0 at halftime. It was 14-0 with 4 minutes gone in the game, and that set the tone for this contest here tonight. Zachary Gebhardt, the sophomore at quarterback, sends one wide to the left side. Everybody else packed in tight. Gebhardt is going to hand it off. Spinning through there. Not much. The Franklin defense in on that play beautifully. And it's going to be a pickup of maybe to the line of scrimmage. And I believe that was Canto Osorio as well. Be second down and 10.
Pete, how about the physicality from the Franklin defensive line, too? Again, they're down 5 touchdowns right now with 12 minutes to play, a running clock here. They will not be winning this game here at Fenway Park, but you still have them playing harder. A lot of these guys, again, the last games of their career for a lot of the seniors on this defense.
Yeah, this is it. This is their last game. It's tough to be out there for the last time, especially when you're trailing at 35-0.
A lot of seniors. This is a completely senior right side of the defensive line right now, including a lot of reserves now, Pete.
Dancing at fullback, Colon Osorio gets the pitch, and he's going to take it wide right. Looking for his opening, can't find one, and he's brought down just inside the 40. Very short gain there for Canto Osorio, and this will set up a third down and long for KP. Under 10 minutes to go in the game.
And again, the clock is running. And it will run unless we have a timeout or an injury. Which, of course, we hope we don't have an injury.
Right. KP taking their time. Conference with Gebhardt and the Brain Trust on the sideline. Again, both benches side by side on the far side, about where the shortstop would play here in baseball. Gebhardt under center this time. Second man through, Colin Osorio. Tries to grind out one, but that's it. That strong defense that you mentioned, Ryan, right in on the play. They're playing hard to the end.
Yeah, they were there right there. And you mentioned the sidelines again. And Pete, these are two teams and two schools that don't like each other at all, regardless of the sport. Football, most definitely they don't. But these are two teams that have been playing each other competitively since the Pop Warner age, before they even got to the middle and high school level. These guys being so close right next door in Rentham, Plainville, and Norfolk are always competing against each other. And right now, this senior class for the Warriors getting the last laugh is part of a big Thanksgiving win.
I could tell you some stories about some of those Pop Warner games back in the day.
Quick handoff up the middle, powering his way through, still moving. What a powerful run there. for KP, and that was moved upfield by Jackson Fornash. And does he have enough for the first? He does. That was a 4th down run, and he gets the first down. 8:07 to go. Ball now inside the 25-yard line. 1st and 10 for KP off the right hash. From the eye again goes Gebhardt. First man through. And it's Greenwood, I believe, this time. And he takes it nice.
I just love the way he put his hand on the player in front of him and just let him lead him through the congestion of Franklin players.
A pickup of about 7 on the play. 2nd down and 3. 7:24 to go here in the game. First game was won today here at Fenway by Brighton, 20-14 over Tech Boston. They pulled it out with less than 30 seconds to go in the game, the winning touchdown. 2nd down and 3. Osario is met at the line of scrimmage, and that's no gain. Maybe a gain of 1. He's not too happy. But a nice tackle there by Jackson Nutter, the senior linebacker, playing his last game in Panther Blue.
Yeah, the captain Nutter coming from way inside the box to go get out on the outside run there. And that's what you kind of want in your leadership, too. In moments like these, how do your senior captains show what kind of game it is and what it means to them by continuing to play hard?
2nd down and 3 for KP from the Franklin 18-yard line. Ball off the left hash, 1 wide to the right, everybody else bunched in tight. Zachary Gebhardt runs his power eye, first man through. Flag is down. This one may come back.
You're going to have a holding.
So the ball was wedged out there by Fornash, and we'll wait for the call by Mike Rayberg. It's holding against KP, and that'll stall the drive, but the clock continues to go. We're at 6 minutes to go now in the game. Remember, KP next plays on Thursday night, 9 days hence against Marshfield. What a game that's going to be.
5:30 that
5:30,
evening at Gillette.
Marshfield, the number 3 seed, KP, the number 1 seed. That's a Division II Super Bowl matchup. 5.5 minutes to go now here in the game. Third down and 8 for KP. Gebhardt hands it off. This is a new back in there. I believe it's Joseph Robeson. And Robeson, a sophomore, 5'8", 144, gets the call. And he gets very little. And this will set up 3rd down and 8 for KP. Under 5 minutes to go in the game.
KP just is eating away. They're not even if Franklin could get back in the game, they wouldn't have the opportunity to. No. Theoretically, King Philip could run out the clock here.
Yep, they could. 4th down and 8. Handoff off the left side inside the 20. It goes Fornash, I believe. And that's going to turn the ball over on downs to Franklin.
Yeah, kind of
check
getting
that
lost.
run. I think that run was actually Kyle Danson.
Yeah, kind of getting lost too. I think a little bit, Pete, in terms of like how can King Philip run the clock down? How can they continue to move via the ground game? Those downs are starting to pile up there right now. So again, this Franklin defensive line showing what it means to them to be on this stage and playing hard in the final career game for a lot of these guys. They forced the only turnover on downs that we've seen so far for Franklin. Might be a little too late, but still gives it back to the offense with some time to at least change that 0 on the scoreboard.
And I like Brian Lee, the coach, not doing anything fancy, just run it out.
We did have a timeout there.
momentarily, Jay, because they're running the clock again.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did.
Okay, so we go back. Cody Howard is now in the backfield with James Brousseau. And Howard gets the handoff. Howard for 3, 4, 5 yards across the 20 to the 23-yard line. Nice little pickup of 5 for Cody Howard.
Pete, I don't think it makes no difference in this game whatsoever. But I believe the rule is that clock shouldn't have started until Franklin snapped the ball.
So the clock will go under 3 minutes now. And Mike DeViti is back in the backfield with James Brousseau. 2nd down and 5 for Franklin from their own 23-yard line. The little look in for Dobrisky out near the 29, and he's going to be very close to the yard to gain. He's got it. 1st and 10 for Franklin with 2 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the game.
Yeah, Dobrisky might have been a little bit banged up after that play, but showing, I think there's been a lot of these kind of bubble plays and screen plays coming from the wide out position set up for Dobrisky. Senior captain's been a reliable target so far today.
2:18 to go. Ball out near the 30. Handoff, fake handoff. And Brousseau is flushed out. Somebody has him. He gets away. Now he can't get away from 2, 3, 4 more players, including big Luca Angelucci. 6 foot, 260 pounds is Angelucci. And that's a big tackle there. Loss on the play. Ball back to the 22-yard line. 1:45 to go.
They just showed Jackson Fry up on the screen from King Philip. That's one big boy.
He sure is. 2nd down and 18 for Franklin. 90 seconds to go in this Fenway Classic. Brousseau has Dobrisky in motion. Little counterplay for DeViti. He wedges it out to the 25-yard line. Short pickup. As it'll be 2nd down and long for Franklin. They had it 1st and 18. Ball at the 2nd and 18. Ball at the 25-yard line. 1 minute straight up left in the game. 3 wide to the right, 1 to the left. On the left is Stephon Reed. We haven't heard from him tonight. Brousseau is going to go up the middle. A nice catch there. Out near the 45-yard line. And the catch made by Luke Trenanez. Franklin trying to get something going. 34 seconds to go. Clock is running. Ball out to the 45-yard line of Franklin. 25 seconds to go. Nothing can stop the clock. Franklin gets a player off the field. 20 seconds to go. Reed, wide right. Brousseau the pocket breaks down, and with that play, the dominance of KP shows because they had 4 players swarming Brousseau, and 1 second to go. That's it. KP comes to Fenway Park, and they tune up for their Super Bowl game with an impressive 35-0 win over the Franklin High Panthers. They led from start to finish, capitalizing on 3 Franklin turnovers, and they've added some more scores of their own. 1 score here in the second half, but it was 28-0 at halftime. Final here, 35-0. An impressive victory, Ryan Martin, for the KP Warriors.
It certainly was, Pete Royce. We saw 2 touchdowns within the first 4 minutes, and then 2 touchdowns late in the second quarter in a 20-second span on back-to-back plays. King Philip can strike a lot. They can strike when you're least expecting it. That's why this Warriors team is now 12-0 in the season, and will look to go undefeated next week against Marshfield in the Division II Super Bowl. Pete Royce, a great event here at Fenway Park, and it was the Warriors maybe having a little bit of a better time than the Panthers did too, pulling out such a big win.
Guys, I've got to think, if Marshfield watches the film of this game, they've got to be a little bit nervous. How do you beat King Philip? They don't seem to have a flaw anywhere.
No.
They seem obviously to be the team to beat, as you'll see, the teams are going to gather. They do this every year. There's a trophy that goes back and forth between schools. It's been at Franklin High School. It's going to head over to King Philip. But for us, that's going to do it for our season of football. Our coverage of the Thanksgiving game is over. We would like to thank all the folks here as they flash a sign up. That was Coach Lee's from King Philip, his 150th win there. That's very impressive. As I was saying, would like to thank the folks here at Fenway Park for being gracious hosts for tonight's event and for bringing high school football into Fenway Park. It's something we all love seeing and something we all know doesn't happen at Yankee Stadium. Thank God. A shout out to Marcel Johnson and Jason Notterman, who are the tech staff for the Red Sox, who helped us out. Their invaluable assistance helped us get this broadcast going relatively smoothly, other than the audio. We wrote this ahead of time. So other than this audio, which was not the fault of anybody here, it appears to have been a YouTube issue, but we got that straightened out. Second shout out goes to Daniel Harlow, tech associate of Rentham Cable, who helped bring the broadcast to viewers in Rentham and Norfolk. Thank you, Dan, for all your help on that. And as I said earlier, an extra special thanks goes to Franklin High School Athletic Director Kara Ellis for helping us get this broadcast to happen. She was instrumental in getting us all in here and getting this off the ground. So thank you very much to Ms. Ellis and all the help she provided to us here at Franklin TV. For our announcers, Pete Royce, Ryan Martin, and our live stream producer and Mr. Everything cameraman Chris Flynn, I am Jay Horrigan saying happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching. And one last time, goodbye from Fenway Park.